Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the House of the Potter. This is the only place where your life can be transformed, where your mind can be renewed, where you can be energized, and where you can find the peace of mind that you've longed for.
Very true.
We have a very important topic today, but before we start, I want you to click the link below, like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, true. We have a very important topic today. And can you see we have a special guest? This is the second person we'll be bringing to the House of the Potter. On today's episode, we shall be talking about something that is very wonderful. Have you ever wondered why you make a lot of money and still you can't save? Have you ever wondered you see a lot of people buying cars just because you want to compare yourself to them? You end up doing the same thing and you go broke. I'll just give you a story and that will lead us to today's episode. There used to be a man who had two sons. One of them, he had a friend. And he sees those things his friend used to do and he wanted to copy them. He was born in a family whereby they are very, very wealthy. And one of these days, he told his dad, "Dad, I know you are very wealthy and I want to be like you, but can you just give me my own property? I want to go live my life." And this guy decided to make that effort. Even when the dad was begging him, he said, "Please, just stay and learn." So he told his dad, "Dad, I need my inheritance." And the dad said, "Just stay for some years and now everything's going to be for you." After much plea, the dad eventually listened to him and eventually gave in. This guy traveled to another country with his friends and lavished all the money. Eventually, he became broke. Somebody that had a lot became so broke. I'm not going to end the story now. I'm going to end it at the end of the show. Have you ever been in that kind of situation? Whereby even with the little you have, you still don't know how to manage it. And that leads us in today's episode, right?
Yes.
Which we shall be discussing financial discipline. How disciplined are you with money? And that's the question I do ask people. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what type of job you have. You might be a physician. You might be a janitor. You might be anybody. We still need that financial discipline. A janitor can even be more financially buoyant than a physician. All depends on how you use the money. So here with us today, we have a special guest. I want her to introduce herself.
Hi guys, I'm so glad to be here among the House of the Potter. My name is Peace Evuero and I'm your guest for today.
Wow, thank you very much, Sister Peace. So on today's episode, we'll be diving in directly. So I'm going to ask you, what do you think is financial discipline itself?
I think financial discipline is, talking about your spending and how well you spend your money, how disciplined you are on your investment, because one, you need to invest for you to be able to get more resources. If you're just the one that just spend and you don't save, you're going to end up being broke and not have enough money. So like me, I'll use myself as an example. Every month I have budgets. I know how much I make and I know how much I'm to spend that month. I don't spend above my budget. If anything comes up, I'm just gonna forget about it because I've already set my budget for that month. So many people they don't have budget for the month. They just go to the store. Oh, today we have sales in the store. We have sales in Macy's. We have stays in Burlington, and they just go and just be spending. And secondly, you have to know the kind of credit cards you have, because you go to stores too and they say, "Oh, we're having 10% sales today and would you like to have a credit card?" And before you know it, you have all the stores credit card, and before you know it, you owe a lot of credit cards that you can't even pay. So you have to know what you want in a month and how to spend it. Or sometimes you can go to the store and your kids will be like, "Mommy, can you buy me this toy?" I'll be like, "No, I didn't come here to buy a toy. I just came here to get food," So you have to, know your budget for the month and how disciplined you are. And also you have to invest. You can't just keep saving your money like that. You have to invest for you to get value for your money, and just don't let your money sit in the bank and it's just going to sit there, and nothing is going to come out of it. By the time you do that, by the time you discipline yourself financially, you're going to be financially independent. What do we mean by financial independent? Whereby you can pay for whatever expenses in your daily living. And so that's how I've grown myself. I don't spend above my budget. I don't buy what I can afford. I have to like discipline myself so much that yes, I know my budget. I know what I want. I know how much I earn, and I don't go above my budget. I don't go buy what I want just to like, some people, they just want to look good because I want to showcase myself to people. If I don't have money to go buy a Gucci shoe, I don't need to buy it. That's the fact. If I don't have money to buy, Gabbana, Louis Vuitton, I don't have to buy it. Everybody, we have a stage in life. We
Sure.
all have stages in life whereby you see Mr. A. You don't know what Mr. A did before they got to that level,
True.
So I can't just like, because I saw Mr. A wearing Louis Vuitton and me, I have to go wear Louis Vuitton. No, because at that time, I don't have the money. I don't have to, go rob a bank just to look good. So you have to like so discipline yourself to buy the things you can afford and not just going beyond your earnings. Yeah.
Wow,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Like you were saying something that like really fascinated me, and it's something I've heard some of my friends say. So I used to have this friend, or I still have this friend. Yeah, when she wants to like do a grocery, or maybe she wants to go for shopping, this person doesn't have a list.
Yeah.
So what they do is that they just go without having any list, go to what they want to buy, maybe bag or stuffs. Eventually, when they get there, they end up like
Buying stuff they don't even need.
They don't need.
so how have you been able to like cop that there? And again, another question I want to ask you is that you were talking about you being disciplined. So at what point did you learn to be very disciplined? Is it that you just started, or you've started for a long time? So what really like changed your mind? Or at what point did you say, oh, I want to be disciplined? Have you ever been at one point broke before?
So growing up as a child, I've always been disciplined with money because my mom owned a shop, and then I used to go there and she will always tell you, you have to spend wisely. So growing up as a child, I've been disciplined with money. I have, like, if I'm going, like what you said, if I'm going to the grocery shop, I have my list. Like if I take my kids and they go point something that's not on my list, I'm not going to buy it. So I have the list of whatever I want to buy, and I don't go beyond that. If I know, I have something, maybe I forgot to add something, the next shopping, I'm going to add it to my do to buy list. So I just, I have a note in my phone whereby I just write those things out that I forgot for that day grocery, but I'm not going to buy it because I don't really need it at that moment, So that was how I was able. Growing up, I've been always financially disciplined because I know where I came from, my background, We didn't really have much, so we were so disciplined. Like all of us, like my brother and my sisters, we are very disciplined when it comes to financial spendings. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's good, because it's something that I've seen that a lot of youth and even older adults, they struggle a lot with. And one thing I've always figured out is that a lot of times again we tend to like want to copy other people.
Exactly.
Maybe because you see A doing something, or maybe for example now, okay, let me use myself as an example. When I first came to America, I used to have this car I used to drive, a Hyundai. It's 20. God bless the soul of that car. 206.
Yeah.
I drove it for almost 5 years. And when I was still driving that car, then I won't lie to you, I see people buying a lot of cars, like fancy cars. I look, I say, one day I'm going to drive this car. But then I never looked at it because I was enjoying the car, because I felt, what's the essence of having a car? Is to like take me to where I'm going to. So you have 2022 car, and I have 2020, and I have 2006, we are still the same.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, we both drive our car but eventually when I knew it was time for me to upgrade, I knew I had the money.
You had the money, yeah.
And I didn't go for a new one. I still went for a low-key one again. Yeah, I upgraded my status, but at least I still knew that I could manage that car, and I could also pay for it. So have you at any point in time bought something you didn't really need and eventually asked yourself, oh, did I really need this thing?
So my thing is, whatever I don't need, I don't buy it. Because, we have needs and wants. So before I buy something, I ask myself, it is my need or my want? If it's my want, then I don't need it. But if it's something that I really need, I go for it, I buy it. I don't, because at the end of the day, you just end up buying stuff in your house. They will just be like trash or junks. And so I don't really buy what I don't need. If I know I need that thing, that means I need it. But if it's a want, I don't need it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sir Comfort, this one is to you. So I know you have friends that love to travel. And though I used to joke with her a lot that since you came to Minnesota, you've never traveled, which I kind of understand. So what do you want to say concerning like those that really like that they love to travel, and some have the means, some don't have the means. So what do you want to say to people like that if you want to like compare your like kind of lifestyle?
My kind of lifestyle, I think my kind of lifestyle is totally different from other people. Like most of the time, my brother is going to say, okay, I'm going to have your kids, just travel. It's not that I don't want to travel, and it's not that I don't have the money to get my ticket, but I just really, it's not the right time for me. Like for me, I like to set my goals, and sometimes I always tell him that, don't be surprised. By the time I will be traveling, everybody is going to be begging me, please stay home.
Stop.
Yeah. I told him that. I'm like, now everybody's shouting, you just need to get out of the house. Travel, go somewhere. Like, I don't like to compare myself with other people. You don't want to compare yourself with other, because other people that you are looking out there, you don't know how they are living their life.
Exactly.
And most of the time, you don't want to fake it. Like, some people like the luxurious life. I do too. But the fact that I like luxurious life, I still have a lot of savings. I don't want to say that Joseph is traveling now because Joseph likes to go around. He likes to tour everywhere. I should do the same, or I should do same. So most of the time, I just like to let my own thing, do my own thing at my time. So I don't compare myself with other people. Like, I will go back to what Miss Fitz just said, like being financially independent. When you say someone is financially independent, you must have gone through a concrete financial standard. Standard, which is like you have the goal for saving and the goal for spending. So if you don't list your goals for so we have short-term goals, mid-term, and long-term goal. When you're talking about short-term goals, those are the goals that you set for yourself. Like, for example, I can say my short-term goals, I want to buy my house in 6 months.
Okay.
Mid-term goal, okay, I'm giving myself 8 months to achieve this particular goal. And the long-term goal can be maybe for 2 years, a year, 3 years, or more. So if you want to be standardized in your financial life, you want to set those goals for yourself. So you don't just spend and you save some money. You need your savings. For me, sometimes, if I see throughout the year, I might not buy anything for myself. Maybe on my special day, birthday, I might like, okay, I'm going to buy something special for myself, even if I'm not going out, just to say, this is me. Let me spoil myself. This is what I want. It doesn't mean I live a luxury life. It doesn't mean that I buy things I don't have savings. So you don't use other people's life to compare yourself. So you save for your future, and you don't depend on your employer for money. When you say you are financially disciplined, that means you are not really expecting what happens if you get laid off from work. What happens if something happens, you're sick? You're still going to fall back to that savings that you have. Can your savings in your bank account save you or maybe for 10 months or 1 year if you don't work? That is what we call financial discipline. You want to have something in there for your future. For emergency.
Thank you very much for that. Then I have another question. Sister Peace made mention of something. She was talking about difference between want and need. So, and I know a lot of people struggle with that. Some don't know the difference between their want and their need. So do you want to expatiate on that? So that when people want to know how to buy stuff or want to do stuff, how do you tell that, oh, this one is a need, I need to do it now, and this one is a want, that means it's not really necessary now, but I will get to that. So how would you advise people to do that?
Okay, for example, I'll differentiate between a want and a need, and I'm going to give examples. For example, food is a daily thing that we need in our lives. we need food. So for food, I would say yes, I need food.
It's essential.
But it's essential. But once I have shoes and clothes all over my house, and I saw this shoe, you know, I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy it. That is a want, because that shoe at that point is not really that important, because I have lots of shoes in my house. So that is the difference between want and need. Need is something essential that you need, that you really need that thing, that is so necessary, you know. But want is something you already have, and you just want, because of pleasure, you just want to like buy it so you can, you know, look good, or so that's what I call want and need.
Yeah, you know, this thing you said now made me to remember, no offense to our African sisters, no offense to our African sisters. Yeah, here in America, I've really noticed a lot of things now. You know, most of the times people buy luxurious cars, 2023, 2022, like that. And most of the time I look at it, and most Africans here in Minnesota, they are all, 90% of Africans that I know, or people that I know, they are all in the health field. So meaning, most of the times, whenever we go to work, 80% of the times our car is always inactive. So we park those cars, you go to work, you do 12-hour shift, eventually you go back home to sleep. That car is laying down there. Then now you have a house which is a need, you are paying for that.
Yeah.
Then now you have kids, then you still go and buy it.
You still need your car because you need something that is going to take you to work.
But I'm even driving somewhere. A car is a need, but it depends on the type of car you have. So for example, maybe you're kind of person that is making $2,000. Now you are paying a rent of maybe $1,400. Now you want to pick a new car of 2023. You are paying like $900. Eventually, you also have some, you know, there are some unnecessary subscriptions we also have now. You know, the social media or internet now or technology now is very crazy.
Instead of buying your phone, you know.
Now you want to buy it on credit.
On credit. You want to cut back, cut down your credit.
Then now there are some subscription again. Even sometimes I look at my house, which is very nice, like Netflix is not, because but sometimes I look at these things that 90% of the time, 7 days a week, the highest time I spend on TV sometimes, if I had everything together, like I look at, I really, look at those things, that there are some things that we are not meant to be paying for. Like if you don't really, like for me, Netflix is very important in the house, which I still do that. But there are some things I'm not going to subscribe for, and those are the things that are taking our money. Sometimes some people, no offense to males and females too, some they subscribe to gym. And they have New Year resolution. They've never been to the gym.
Never been to the gym. Yeah, that's true.
They've never been to the gym. Now, so those are the little.
And it takes your money every month.
Eventually, $50 a year, $40 a year, $30 a year. At the end of the day, when you sit down and add all those things together, you eventually see that these are the things that are taking the money. So that's why I love what you said, with the difference between a need and a want. So how do we become financially stable now? Because I know it's a problem that everybody has. So how do we become financially stable?
So to become financially stable, like I said initially, you want to set a goal for yourself. So what are the goals? We have a short-term goal, a mid-term goal, and we have a long-term goal. So when you set a goal for yourself, then you list it. And also, after setting a goal for yourself, also when you need something out of that goal, that's when you determine the needs. The most important thing, the essential things that you need, and also your wants. So let's say I want to buy a house in the next 1 year. So, and let's say I earn $5,000 a month. What are the things that I need to do? After paying your bills, then underneath, because those ones, they are the essential things that you need to do. You need a shelter on your head. After doing all those important things, you still want to save a little. Even if it's $100 you are able to save, contribute in 2 weeks or in a month. It's okay. It's going to go a long way. By the time you see it like in a year, it is something. So you want to like cut down, and there are ways that you can also cut down your expenses. Like for example, cutting down your credit card, paying off your debt. When you are able to pay your debt, then you have more money to be financially stable.
You know, this credit card you talked about, I want Sister Peace to also talk about it. You know, in America, I don't know, no offense, to me it's a scam. Because there in America, I noticed they always want you to buy stuff on credit.
Yeah.
And the reason why I even got a credit card, I remember it was Star Comfort that told me, oh, Joe, you need to grow your credit score. So I got Capital One. Then eventually, because I remember then when I went to West Fargo and all those people, they didn't want to give me credit card. They didn't want, because they said, oh, they couldn't trust me because I didn't have any stuff. Eventually, it was Capital One that trusted me. But you know, after like 6 months, I started seeing different type of credit card. Yeah. You have been pre-approved 1,000. I said this one. I said even the evil spirit in my family will not follow me to this place. So what do you think about? So what do you want to say to people who have a lot of like credit cards and stuff?
So for a lot of people who have credit cards, I would say they don't really need it. Because if you look at it, a lot of these credit cards, they are interrelated, like just like insurance, you know, like all of them, they are interrelated. Like me, I just have one credit card that's from West Fargo, and with that I can be able to track my credit. And the most things I buy with my credit cards is essential needs, like what I just said. I don't go buy Louis Vuitton bag with my credit card. I can do it because I don't need it, you know. That is a want. If I want to buy Louis Vuitton bag, I should be able to buy with my money. That's if I have the money.
Sure.
So I only have one credit card, and with that, I'm able to like track my credit. I put auto pay on my credit, so I don't miss no payment, even though it's like maybe for example $38 every month. But on auto pay, it means you pay on time. So I only have one credit, so I don't forget. Oh, I owe eBay, I owe this, I owe Target, I owe Amazon. Some people, they have a lot of credit cards, and by then you are financially unstable because you can't even track those credit cards. You don't know when you are due for this. You don't know when this one is due. So for me, I only have just one credit card. Like when I wanted to buy my car, the guy was like, wow, so you have one credit card? I'm like, yeah, I only have one credit card. And so with that, yeah, I think you should be good. If you just have one or even maximum two. Because for me, what you really need credit card for is the things like food, gas, just that can grow your credit as well. You don't need to go buy a flight ticket with your credit. That
you don't need all
you don't need all those. The most things you really need credit card for is gas, food, and just minor stuff, you know, you can easily pay off. Yeah.
So another thing again I've also noticed, apart from the credit card, I noticed Africans we love party. Oh my God. Africans, we love party a lot.
Not all Africans.
No, I'm not saying general because I'm an African. I don't love party, but I'm saying because I'm an African. So I'm also in that shoe. We love party a lot. I know even some people here, they work so hard here. They go back home just because they want people to know they throw a lot of party.
Exactly.
They spend a lot. Then eventually they grow broke.
They come back, they start looking for money.
I know someone that went to Africa,
start borrowing money.
He took like 15,000, and after he came back, he was broke. I'm like,
15,000.
Yeah. I'm like, so why do you have to do all
just
of that
to show
when you know you can't even afford it, you know? Just to show off.
So what did they do with it? Did they invest it or what?
No, they just went to go throw party and invite people, do Thanksgiving, just stuff like that.
Even when it comes to wedding and those things too, you know, social media itself has made things so hard for people. Like they make things like you see the way some people would throw their wedding, and sometimes you see, I know they spent a lot, but eventually I look at these things like good. Like I am always very calculative. Now, if I spend 40,000 for my wedding, so how much will I get in return?
Exactly.
Like I'm just saying, for example,
are you celebrating your wedding because you want to get something?
No, I'm just saying, like if you are calculating, like you don't want to spend, you don't want to get wedding and be broke. You understand what I mean? Like use the amount of money you have. If it's even 5,000 you have, if it's 10,000 you have. I'm just trying to
plan according to your money.
You have savings that when you are done with your wedding, you still have something to fall back at.
Exactly, because I have a lot of friends when they share their story of how they got wedded and eventually they become so broke. Like the word sometimes I wonder, like, why are you doing that? Like, are you trying to please people just because you want people to know like you have the money, but eventually your account is red? Like, what do you want to say about that?
So the thing is, right, like I would always use myself as an example. I cannot do what I can afford. Like you see some people even going to borrow to go do their wedding. You don't need to, you know. As a partner, like the person you are planning your life with.
Even borrow to go party with
friends. So the thing is, you know, you need to know your budget. You need to know what you have. Okay, if it's 5,000 you have to say, oh, so we're going to spend this. Maybe if you have 5,000 to spend on the wedding, you don't have to go beyond. You don't have to go take expensive musicians. You don't have to go do all expensive or go pay for expensive halls. You know, they are just go. You know, see what I have. You guys should calculate your budget and work on that. You don't have to throw a luxury wedding just to like show off to people. And at the end of the day, you are independent and you are dependent on people to survive. So that's what we mean about financially independent. You don't have to depend on anyone to survive. So you have to know your budget, know what you have, and know how you want to spend it.
And there is another that says cut your clothes according to your size.
Yeah, but sometimes the size too matters.
No. You know, some people, they just look at because Mr. Hay is doing this. I want to do the same thing.
Exactly.
That Mr. Hay came from grass to grace, and you don't know what the person has been through all along before they got to that position. So you don't want to compare yourself with other people.
You don't want to compete with people. Just be you, be yourself.
Be your one and only competition.
You know what you said now makes sense. I was able to draw two things from what you said. There's one you were talking about, like you having a budget for a month. And before you came, myself and I, we discussed it one time. Like when you have a budget for the month, so if you pass, like for example, now maybe you've paid your rent. Eventually, maybe you have like $500 remaining, and you give to people maybe $100. So now, what if at the end of the day somebody comes to you again and say, "Oh, Sister Peace, I have this problem.
I don't have it."
And at that time,
I won't even let you finish. I don't have it.
And that's where
that's my budget for the month, and I'm not going to pass that.
I stick to it.
Me, that's where that's where I have an issue, because I'm always too empathic and too sympathetic with people. If I see something, even when it has passed my budget, I always like sometimes to always strain myself. Which I feel sometimes it doesn't really make sense. And it's not that maybe I'm trying to make myself look good.
And then you now come back to borrow.
Yeah, which I don't want to do.
Because you know, you can please people. That's one thing. Because that person, you might train yourself to give them. Tomorrow, let's say next month, they will still come back because, oh, he's generous.
And they will give you the same message.
Exactly. It will be like, oh, he's generous. He will still give to me. So when I pass my budget,
it doesn't make no sense.
I'll say, sorry, I don't really have it right now. But, you know, maybe next month I'll see what I can. Then I can then include you in my next month budget. But for that month, I'm not going past that. It doesn't make me a wicked person. It's just that I can't displease myself to please you.
Oh, good. I've learned one lesson from me now. So I've passed, but it's not that I can't give you, but I've passed the budget for the month.
That's it.
Next month I will see what I'll do about it.
That really makes sense. And I guess that's what a lot of people go through every time. And I look at all these rich people today, like why are these people still rich? Even those people that have those worldly wealth, like Bill Gates and the likes, these people, I noticed one thing that is very common to them. They are very, very disciplined.
Oh yeah.
Even when this guy came to Nigeria, Facebook, what's his name again? Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah. Do you know this guy was very, very simple? He had a little shirt and a jeans. This guy was just walking. I was like, life of a rich man. So I looked at it like these people are very disciplined. Like even with their phones, the way we will carry phones, them they have a very simple phone, and they're always like on point with what they are doing. So, but somebody who's like us, you say you want to be rich, you want to be wealthy, but now you cannot even like with the little you have, you cannot keep it. Because I remember when I was a DSP, for example, now I used to like make how much $10, and then I won't lie to you, and that was, even with that $10, I was able to pay my tuition fee, and I was still okay. But I noticed now that
the more money you have, the more responsibility.
Is it that like what's really going on? So like, what do you think? Does that really happen to you too? Also, when you see like change in your story, are you able to keep up with your saving, or sometimes does it really affect you because now you've jumped from this also amount of money to this also amount of money, and like how do you deal with those things?
So that's when the discipline comes in. Because me too, I remember when I was a DSP too, I even used to work part-time. I was making $500 a month because of my son. I didn't want to take him to the babysitter. So I make $500 a month.
So how do you pay your rent?
Then we still pay rent because I had a partner. We pay rent, but I was still financially disciplined, because I'm like, this month I'm not even spending past $300. I still have to save $200. So with that, even with that saving, I bought a nice car. Yeah. So the thing is, when you know your budget, even it doesn't matter if you're making 15,000, 20,000 in a month. You already know your rent, you already know your bills, you already know some other miscellaneous expenses. So you see this other money, this is my savings. I'm not even touching it. So that's when your financial discipline comes in. No matter the amount you make. I know a lot of people that makes 10,000 in a month, 15,000 in a month, So you just have to discipline yourself. This is what I'm spending for this month. It doesn't matter how much you're making. You just have to discipline. This is what I'm spending for this month, and this is what I'm saving. Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Pace.
So that means what I can deduce from what you are saying now is that it doesn't even matter what type of job you have. Even if you are making the least amount of money, you can still save.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even those that are not making 6 figure, they still have savings.
Exactly.
So how much more you making 6 figure and making even more than that?
I would tell you,
have
me, I don't make
there.
6 figure, but people that make, sometimes they come to me like, can you loan me
you be like, you kidding
are you
me?
serious right now?
What are you using your money to do?
So it just works to financial discipline.
Wow.
Yeah.
So so now we'll be looking at what does the Bible even say about even finances?
Okay.
What does it say?
Proverbs 21:20. So it says, the wise will save, the fool spend it all. So what this passage is trying to tell us that the wise man save for the future, but the foolish man spend whatever he gets. So if you have little and you don't know how to save, how can you expect more? And I want us to also look at Luke 16:11. And if we are untrustworthy about worldly wealth, who will trust you with true riches of heaven?
Wow. This is so funny because the Bible is really very explanatory. And it's so deep. The one that touched me most is that Proverbs 11:20 that she said the wise man saves for the future, but the foolish man spends everything he gets. So that means don't use your 10 hands to eat.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's really, oh my God. I've really learned a lot from today's topic. So if the Bible can say that, which is the standard of we Christians, and so what excuse do we have as Christians to be poor?
Exactly.
We don't have no excuse. Yeah.
So what advice are you going to give to people who are watching and who are really struggling with finances and how to manage their finances? What advice are you going to give to them?
The only advice I'll give to them is same thing I've talked about. Set a budget for yourself. Know what you want and know your needs. And know what you can afford, because you don't want to please people just because Mr. A is driving a nice car and you want to go loan money to go get that nice car and you can't afford it. Just know what you can afford, know your budget, know your wants, and know your needs. Then you'll be good to go.
Wow. Sister Comfort, what advice do you have for people too?
Don't hit with your 10 fingers. Be financially independent. God bless you.
Yeah, so before we wrap up today, I'm going to ask Sister Peace. So if we invite you another time, are you going to come?
Oh, sure. I'll be here anytime.
Yeah, thank you very much, ma, for coming to the House of the Potter. We do appreciate you.
We are blessed.
Yeah, I was blessed. And for those of you watching us from home, watching us from anywhere you are, we do appreciate you for staying tuned on today's episode. And I would like to say this. Whichever job you have, whatever way you're making your money, you can always save your money. So mine is just a question to people watching us. And this is it. How do you intend to manage your finances? And if you're the kind of person that struggles with your finances, I want you to leave a comment below. Tell us how you've been able to manage your finance and your struggles. We'll be looking at the comment section and we will be responding to that. The goal of today's episode is for us to be able, we brought Sister Peace to be able to share our experience about how you can manage your finances. No one is perfect, but there's room for you to be able to grow. You don't want to keep struggling and begging from people. You don't want to keep being pressured from family back home, whereby they will ask you to send more money. And like one thing I can take from today is that once you have a budget for the month, you've reached your budget, you don't have to struggle to do something. You can push it to the next month.
And also your needs should be your priority. The first priority on your list, and your wants should be the least priority. Thank you.
Thank you guys for tuning to this episode. Yeah, lest I forget, I told you guys I was going to complete the story of the person who left his dad, got all his inheritance. Eventually he squandered everything, and he was so poor. Like, he was poorer than the church rat. So eventually, after toiling so hard, he decided to go back home. And the dad, while he was away, was not sleeping. He was worried about his son because he knew his son wasn't matured financially to be able to handle the task. Eventually, the son came home and the dad was very happy. And that's the way God wants to treat every one of us. He wants to know about everything we do when it comes to our finances. He wants to teach us. And that's why we're able to read from the passage on Proverbs that says, a wise man. And that wise man can only be helped through God. Even when we make our plans to be able to save our money, it's only God that can help us save.
And it's never too late to retrace your step back.
Exactly. So if you are just tuning in for the first time, please like, share, comment,
and subscribe.